What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Nurse Bass back with another video. And guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted to get on here real quick and share a couple of cool things that happened to me recently.
Are you listening? Nurse Bass. Beast mode.
So for all of my nurses out there, if you've been a nurse for any length of time, you have come to realize rather quickly that nursing in general as a profession is often a thankless profession. It just is the case. You know, we kind of go into nursing school with aspirations of becoming a nurse one day, and we have all of these ideas in our mind as to what nursing is, what the profession is actually like. And you know, we get these Florence Nightingale stories and this idea of a utopian nursing profession gets built in our minds a lot of times, and then you kind of get slapped by reality whenever you get out there on the floor.
Hey guys, real quick, I just wanted to let you all know about this amazing company called nursing.com, whose sole purpose is to help prepare aspiring and new nurses for success in this rewarding career. Links down below. They have 4 brand new academies available for whatever stage of the grind you're in. The Pre-Nursing Academy for those aspiring, the Nursing Student Academy for those in the trenches, the absolutely stellar NCLEX Prep Academy with over 99% pass rate, and a program designed to help the new grad nurse navigate this new and intimidating profession. Just pick the path that's right for you. But if funds are tight, don't worry, because nursing.com has a ton of other free resources available to you as well. One day, patient lives will be in your hands. Study like it. Links are in the description. Love you guys. Grind on.
There's a lot of stress and a lot of just a lot of pressure that comes with the nursing profession, and because we're being stretched so thin so frequently, we're not able to provide the kind of care for our patients that we may have necessarily thought that we were going to be able to. And patients are ill, you know, they're in the hospital, could be the worst day of their life, they're ill, and you know, they don't have much reason to be happy. So usually it's a thankless profession. Well, I had a couple of things happen to me recently in the ICU, and I kind of wanted to get on here and share them with you briefly. They were pretty cool experiences, man, and something that you guys may be able to take a little bit of inspiration from. You know, the first one, and both of these, mind you, have happened in the last 2 months now. The first one that I wanted to tell you briefly, and of course I'm going to change patient identifiers, patient situations, I'm going to maintain HIPAA and protect patient privacy. First patient that I'm going to tell you about, a patient who came in for one reason or another. They ended up ventilated, sedated, and eventually they were declared brain dead. Now, I took care of this patient for 2 days. At the end of my second shift with this patient, by this time the patient had passed away. Family had ended up making the decision to withdraw life support, and patient passed away naturally. And it was interesting for me because prior to leaving the ICU the first time, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you would know this, I lost my mother. It was sort of a similar situation. She ended up being on a ventilator. She ended up being declared brain dead as well, and I was the one who had to make the decision to withdraw support and terminally extubate her. And so for me to be there in this new position, to be back in the ICU caring for a patient who was in a very similar situation as my mother, and then to not only deal with that dynamic, but then to also deal with the dynamic of the family, primarily the healthcare power of attorney who was having to make all of these decisions. I had a little bit of empathy there as well, so I could relate. And it was just a very interesting situation. And by the end of my second shift, after having terminally extubated on this patient, the loved one, this patient's brother, the power of attorney, ended up coming up to me and thanking me for my care of his sister. And it was a really cool moment for me, because I've been through what this person has been through, in a sense. This was his sister, it was my mother. We both had to make the same kind of call. So, you know, it's hard to understand what somebody's going through unless you've been through it yourself. So on some level, me and this man were, you know, we had a commonality. And so for him to have just gone through what he went through, and me remembering freshly what that feeling felt like, and for him to still thank me for my care and to praise me for my care, was something very, very awesome given the situation. And it was, again, one of those stop and pause for a second and kind of a refresher moment, because like I said, we are often stretched so thin and you're just rarely thanked from patients or family members. And that was just one instance where, given the this situation that this man just went through, for him to still thank me, it was very touching. The other thing that I wanted to tell you, a second patient situation that I had. This patient had come in for one reason or another, ended up going into respiratory failure and ended up needing to be ventilated and sedated. And so I took over care for this patient, and I cared for her prior to being ventilated. Then she deteriorated and needed to be intubated and vented. And then I cared for her probably 2 or 3 days while on the ventilator. And so this entire time I'm in conversations with her family. They're all very unsure and worried, as anybody naturally would be, not unsure of what the outcome of their loved one's situation is going to be. And I ended up being relieved of duty of this patient, passed this patient off to the next nurse, and I didn't care for this lady again for like another week. And I came back in, and I hadn't even stopped by the room because I had been off work. I hadn't even seen her for a week. And whenever I stopped back in, she had ended up being trached, but she was doing so well. She already had her passing mirror valve, and to go in there and to hear her talking after having been ventilated for so long that they ended up needing to make the decision to trach her, to hear her talking, and I went in there and then I saw her family, primarily her healthcare power of attorney, sitting right there. And you develop a relationship with the families over time, and to hear her talk, it brought me such joy. And then to see the family member sitting there too, who had these conversations with me of worry and fear and uncertainty. And this lady said, and I'm probably not ever going to forget this lady said, she looked over at her loved one, who was the patient, and she said, do you remember Brad? And the lady did, the patient did. And she said, Brad's one of the main reasons why you're still here. It was because of the care that he gave you. And it felt super sincere. And I know that a family member could say that to any given nurse that may have cared for this particular patient. But there was something that was very direct and sincerity that was in the statement, and it just felt so good. And it was an eye-opening experience as well. It was like, you start to really realize the impact that you have on people. And so, I just wanted to tell you guys those two stories of recent experiences in the last few months where I was blessed enough to be thanked. And just to use that as hopefully motivation or inspiration to provide you guys out there with hope who may be, in the thick of it, in the trenches, or close to being burnt out, or those of you who are, entering into this nursing school with aspirations to be a nurse one day. Maybe you're getting in clinicals and you're starting to get exposure to these floors, or you're hearing things and you're maybe starting to get a more realistic idea of what the landscape of this profession looks like, just to give you inspiration that there are days like these where you get thanked, where you just, the care that you were given was appreciated. I guess it's not about the thank yous, it's just purely about the care being appreciated. And it's days like that where you can go home and know that you made a difference. Those are the days, those are the situations that make all of this worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We're putting out content every week to motivate, uplift, and inspire you to be the best damn nurse you can be. It's your boy Nurse Bass, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Ground, I do not jump, I move the earth down. Bear witness to the genius of my sound. Born at the bottom, but now I'm top down. Look, I'ma call it swag.